In this video, I'm going to talk about some of the publishing options for your visualizations and how to either publish to Flourish or download your visualizations and everything like that. So the thing to know is that there are a couple of different ways to publish Flourish visualizations for the web, and it depends on what kind of customer you are for some of the options, but I'm just going to run through the ones that are available and tell you what's available on the free plan and what isn't. So the first and most sort of common way that people publish Flourish visualizations is to publish straight to Flourish, to our servers, and then to use an embed code to embed them on a web page. So to do this, there's this button in the top right corner that says Export and Publish. If it's unpublished, it's going to be black. And then if it's published, it's going to be green. And if it's published but has some unpublished changes, it's going to be orange. So let me show you how that works. So if I wanted to export and publish to Flourish, I would click this button, then click this button right here. And it's going to ask me if I want to publish it and if I want to make a password so it can only be seen with people who have the password. I'm going to say no, so I'm just going to click publish. And you can see now that this is turned to green. And you can see a preview of your published visualization on this link right here. So that's what it looks like. And then there are a couple of different embed options right below this for if you want to embed this visualization straight onto your web page. So the main normal one is just this one right here, which is just a normal script tag, but we also have an AMP iframe and a normal iframe available as well. There's also this option for paying customers to hide the Flourish credit when they embed the visualization on their web page. You can also click unpublish this project right here. But I also want to show you what happens when you have something published and you make a change. So say, for example, this right now doesn't really have the right heading for this chart. It's actually the 2009 to 2017 school years. So I'm going to go down here and change this subtitle to that. And you should see here on the right-hand corner, this is just changed from green to orange. But I haven't published the changes. So green to orange means that there are unpublished changes for a published project. And if I go here, I can see that this still says 2009 to 2010 academic year. And this says 2009 to 2019. So if I click this and click republish and go back here and refresh, this has changed. So this is a really good way to do sort of draft things on your website. So if you are a newsroom customer and you are making a bunch of sort of empty charts for an election that you just kind of want to fill in, you can make them and then you don't have to change the embed code or anything like that. You can just republish them to Flourish, keep updating the data, and they will update on your website. The other option for publishing is, well, one of the other options is to download an image. And there's a couple of different sizing options. You can size the image however you want. This specific template, you can download a PNG, a JPEG, or an SVG. In some of the templates, you can only download a PNG and a JPEG because of the way they're coded. They're not coded using SVG. And you would just click download to download that and download to your computer. So that's just a static image. And then there's also one more option for paying customers, which is this download HTML option, which will download a minified sort of version of the chart as an HTML file. And that is a way for people who want to host their own graphics, so for them not to be on the Flourish server, to do that. In this video, I'm going to talk about making one-slide stories in Flourish and the situations in which you might want to do so, and why you'd make a one-slide story instead of just sort of making a visualization and publishing a single visualization. I think this is something that's quite unique to Flourish, so it definitely warrants explanation, and it's something that's a little tricky to get your head around, but once you do, it makes a lot of sense. So to illustrate the need and explain a situation in which you may need to do this, I'm going to use this line chart race, which is showing UK general election results by party from every election since 1918. So it's a line chart race, so obviously it animates, which is pretty cool. Some of it's getting cut off here, but you can see there's those new other parties now at the bottom. And say, for example, that I wanted to talk about, I wanted just to show sort of the animation to 1970. So when the SNP, sort of the first election where the SNP wins seats. And if I do this and have this sort of, because using this thing, you can move the visualization back and forth. And if I want to just show this year, sort of like this view, if I click export and publish, which makes a lot of sense, you would think, okay, this is my visualization, I'm going to export and publish it. It doesn't save that view. It starts at the beginning of the animation and just goes straight through again. And I can even sort of do this again. Oh, maybe something didn't work. I'm going to go to here, and then I'll export and publish again, and it just does the same thing. So to actually, there is a way to actually save this sort of view here, and that is using the story editor. So if I click create a story from here, in the story editor, unlike in the visualization editor, as we just saw, it lets you save this sort of point of view or the view of the visualization, which you can't do in the visualization editor. The visualization editor just lets you make the visualization. And since all of this data is in there, it's just going to play the animation. But in the story editor, you can save the view. So if I do this and go back, same thing that I did in the visualization editor, and now I export and publish this as a story, which you can sort of embed in the same way that you would embed a visualization, it stops. And it stops at this view. So that is the situation, a very sort of simple and common situation in which you would want to make a one-side story. So there are a couple of other ones, like if you made a cool 3D map and you wanted to kind of zoom into a certain angle and a certain view of it, that's another situation where you would want to use a one-side story. And there's another little trick to know about this, which is that right now you can see this navigation bar, which is where you usually would put your caption or whatever if you wanted, and where you would click through the story, or if it was an autoplay sort of talkie situation where it would show how far along in the talkie you are. But you can actually get rid of this and embed this so it looks basically like it would if it was just this regular line chart visualization. And that trick is just here at the top. Navigation style is on default. You can set it to none, which will get rid of it. So that just basically looks like your regular line chart race, but it's actually a story. And no one would know really the difference if you had embedded this somewhere on a web page. So yeah, so I hope that sort of clears up confusion about animation and stuff like that, and when you might want to use a one-side story.